and I'd say evacuated tubes without a doubt. So now I'm going to look at economics. So that shows up. This is again a rep screen. It's a modeling software, quite accurate. So I've entered the cost of a typical two-panel system around $6,400. What's the return on investment? 16.7%. It pays for itself around 7.5 years. Now I've done somewhat equivalent tube system. It's a little bit cheaper, $5,800. What do you know? 7.5 year payback, 17% return on investment. So like I say, they're pretty much neck and neck. Now it all boils down to, if you're just looking at economics, if you're saying, well, wait a minute, I'm not doing this because I want to save money, I'm doing this for the environment. Well, now I'm saying, okay, for the $5,000 you spend, you want to get the most out of your system, so you do the most for the environment, so you're still looking at the best return on investment. So again, these two are pretty much neck and neck. So it boils down to aesthetics. How do I like the looks of the flat plate, which looks like a giant skylight on my roof, compared to the tubes that maybe don't look so good because they're elevated. The other concern that we have from a business point of view, we've always tried to source local. We've got two Canadian suppliers, either Enerworks, which had a lot of design work done at Queens, or Solcan, which is from London, Ontario. Enerworks is in Dorchester. So they're just being trucked down the 401. The evacuated tubes we get, unfortunately, they're all Chinese supply. So they're trucked halfway across the world. So
is there a difference in the lifetime of the two different options?
From what, again, we don't have a long enough track record with the tubes. 25 years is what we consider the basic lifetime. The tubes haven't been around long enough to confirm it. The flat plates have. There's a system, I know how many people know Belleville pretty well. If you drive down Highway 2, Prince William apartment building, 80-panel system. It's giant up right by the water. It installed in 1983. It's still functioning. Flat Solcan collectors, so flat plate collectors that still work after 25 years or so.
Just one question.
Yeah.
On your flyer, you have written the return on investment is 11%. How comes the difference?
I just actually did these slides, and the sheet I gave you is actually old.
Yeah.
This looks a little bit better now because we've recently just got the renovation tax, which I'll show. I'll cover it in a case study shortly. The renovation tax allows us to take about another $800 off the cost of the system. So that makes our return on investment look that much better because our actual out-of-pocket costs has dropped because of that. So some of the things to consider, again, aesthetics. Luckily, a lot of people, most of our customers, I remember one customer down on Earl Street, you can see his system near Macdonell. He's got 4 of the tube collectors, and I talked about having them lower in the roof. I said, if we stick them right up at the top, you're going to see it. It's going to stick right up there. I want people to see it. So that's what most of our customers are like that. They want people to see that they've got solar. Some people don't, so they want it to look good. So, I mean, that's an important decision. You've also got to think about resale. How does it make my house look? Space on the roof. This is important. We've got a dozen customers who are really keen to do it. They didn't realize they actually need to have a south-facing roof or space on that roof for it to work. And so this is an important consideration. The direction of the roof is potential shading. I mentioned this Tuesday that Sydenham Ward is a very difficult place to put solar collectors because there's so many wonderful maple trees. Literally half of the homes down there are shaded. Just not possible. Space for a storage tank turns into an issue sometimes, and then getting the pipes from the roof to the basement, it turns into a difficult game too. So all these things go into whether or not it can happen, and then if it can happen, how much it will cost to happen, because if a bungalow with an easy pipe run is obviously a lot easier to do than a 2-story 12-12 roof with limestone foundation. So here's combination system. So now let's go a little beyond the just doing straight 2-panel system for domestic hot water. Here's the guy I told you about with 8 of those collectors up on his roof. He's also, as you can see, he's got a passive solar home too. If Jeremy was here, he could say this guy who built his own home should have talked to Jeremy and asked about thermal mass. He's got a great home. He's got no thermal mass. He built the whole thing with wood. So all the heat he gains during the day re-radiates right out nighttime. So his idea was to put a whole bunch of water storage and gain what he could during the daytime.
He asked me, I should have asked Jeremy this question, but I'll ask it to you anyway. I know that guy built with what it looks like it's board and batten. What about something like a log home? That's a different type of heat, right?
Wood's not a great thermal mass. You want to look for concrete. And again, I won't go on too much of a tangent, but you know, if you look at a well-designed passive solar home, they've either got, I think they call them trom walls, where the sun's hitting it, and a big thermal mass that can gain that heat slowly. Like this guy, his house heats up on a winter day like that. His house is too hot. He's got to open windows because he doesn't. If you've got a big thermal mass, it will collect that heat and slowly heat up and keep the air from heating up. He's actually a smart man. I told him he had to cover. He's got too many windows, so he made his own insulated shade. You can see him up on the top, made 4 inches of styrofoam, so he can actually close his windows if he's not getting sun. So he's thinking of solutions. Anyway, that's one combi system with evacuated tubes. So he does space heating and obviously domestic hot water. Like I say, unfortunately during the summertime, just heats the air with the rest of it. We put them at a very steep angle, you'll notice too, to maximize the wintertime angle. The midpoint is 45 degrees. If we want to maximize winter, we'd go around 60 degrees. We've actually gone around 70 degrees in his case so that we can minimize summertime gain. This guy here with his combi system, he's doing domestic hot water. He's also got an indoor pool. So it's an easy one because he's got pool heating all year round that we can dump. So even though it's indoor pool, summertime, he's still got big energy requirement. Yeah, so 45 degrees. So in the summertime, the sun's quite high, so we're up around an angle of about 25 degrees from the vertical, 25 degrees. In the winter, and in the winter time, we're much lower. We're down around 60 degrees from the vertical. The sun's much lower. So if I'm doing a pool system for summertime heating only, I want to have it fairly flat so that the incident angle that the sun's hitting it at is 90 degrees ideally, or as close to perpendicular as we can get. Same thing if I'm trying to heat during the winter. I'll want to have the panels at a steep angle because the sun's way down here, so the incident angle wants to be perpendicular. If it's at a real sharp angle, you don't gain much. And this goes back to the guy who told me I could put the panels on the north side because he gets sun over there. He does, but it hits at an angle so slight that it bounces off.
Is there dedicated thermal storage in the house on the right?
Oh yeah, he's got 300 gallons worth of storage. But even in the summertime, that's not enough because he doesn't use 300 gallons of water.
Even during the winter, he gets excess heat.
No, he doesn't, because he takes all that heat and he circulates it through rads in his house and uses it up during the day. So yeah, because he's got passive solar, so he doesn't need, if the sun's shining, he doesn't need it during the day, but he's storing it up for nighttime use. Okay. Here's just some more pictures of this guy's system. These are just heat exchangers for his pool. And this is a simple solution we do for space heating. Again, there's so little heat, realistically, so little heat available for space heating that as opposed to putting a very large system like tying it right into your forced air plenum, forced air system, we'll put a fan-driven radiator. So it's literally just a hot water radiator